Megan, and we're going to talk to you about angles of elevation and angles of depression.
But before we start, there's 3 things that you need to know. So the first thing that you need to know is line of sight. Line of sight is a horizontal view from an observer's eyes. So the line of sight is if I was looking straight forward, that's my line of sight. The angle of elevation is the angle from an observer's line of sight looking upward at an object. So for example, if I was looking straight at a truck and I look up to the sky, that is my angle of elevation. Now here's Megan.
Okay, those are the really big important terms, but the one you didn't really mention is the angle of depression. The angle of depression is a little bit like the angle of elevation because you have to start with your line of sight and then go downward and look at the angle of depression. So really what it is if I was looking straight at a cup, straight ahead, and then looking down at a shoe on the floor, this angle will be my angle of depression. Now we're going to show you some real life examples.
This is example 1, and I'm going to show you the angle of elevation. A real world example of stairs. Okay, so already measured. The length of these stairs are 64 inches. The height of these stairs are 43 inches. So, all in all, when I draw this out, you get something that looks like this. You have a triangle. So we have the length being 64 inches and the height being 43 inches. Okay? Now we want to find the angle of elevation of these stairs from the ground. So theta, which equals our angle of elevation, is from the ground going up. So it's, in this case we have tangent, which is opposite over adjacent. So it would be tangent inverse equals 43 inches over 64 inches, which equals approximately 33 degrees. So in this case, theta is approximately 33 degrees, which equals our angle of elevation. So our angle of elevation from our ground up is 33 degrees. And that's how you find your angle of elevation using tangent.
Okay, so Sierra just showed you an example of an angle of elevation. What she did is she showed you an angle from the bottom upward toward those stairs. What I'm going to show you is an angle of depression. So from me up here looking downward. Now right now my line of sight is straight in front of me horizontally, but when I look downward it's a different angle. Be right down. Okay. When I was up there, I was looking downward to my destination over here, this fire pit. Don't really know what I'm looking at that, but okay. Here's how I can explain it. We'll start with this. I would be right here, smiley face, and now this distance is from me to the ground, so from here to the ground. If you go over here, you can see that my line of sight is straight ahead, so it'll be toward that tree. Now here's where my fire pit's at. I'm looking downward toward this fire pit, and if you put this line down here, that's the distance from me to the fire pit, and it's also a triangle. Now the only difference between this and Sierra's example is that hers, she was kind of starting from the bottom up. Now this is what happens here. I need to find the angle of elevation from me, well the angle of depression, I'm sorry, from me to this fire pit. So that will be theta, because we don't know what it is and we need to find it. Now, the length down here we measured is 323 inches. and the height is 103 inches. Now, in order to find theta, we need to find tangent of theta. So tangent
Inverse. Inverse.
opposite over adjacent.
Make it. Inverse.
Tangent inverse. Tangent inverse is opposite over adjacent. That's what we need to find. So, the opposite over adjacent will be 323 over 103. And that happens to equal 72 degrees. So theta is 72 degrees. The angle of depression is 72 degrees from me up here downward toward the fire pit.
Say that again. What is it?
What?
So say that again. What is the angle of depression from?
Okay, the angle of depression is from the top peak
Where you were before?
downward.
Okay.
Downward toward the object on the ground. And the angle of elevation is from downward going up. So my angle of depression is 72